For those of you who've been in my world for a while, you know that I'm not someone who loves hype. I try to tell it like it is and to be honest and direct and authentic about the way that I communicate, because I know there's so many hypey internet marketers out there, and we all have them on our Facebook feeds, and sometimes it can feel a little bit like, oh my God, everyone's just screaming at me all the time. I have never been more excited about a workshop in my entire life. This is the most important workshop that I believe that I have ever run. And I'm so, so excited that you've made the decision to be here and to be here live, or if you're watching the replay, to really be a part of this experience. Now, before we get started, I would love to rope everybody in here. So in the chat, I would love for you to share one word that describes your current feelings about AI. Just one word. I would say for me, it's excited. Shirley says excited. Helen says good. Overwhelmed, possibility, revolutionary, intrigued, excited, cautious, easy, unknown, suspicious, helpful, curious. Choices. Yeah. What a wide range of experiences. And all of this is super normal. I mean, we're really in this pivotal moment right now in humanity. There's so much going on in our world right now. James says nervous, infatuated, opportunity, great. So on one hand, if we look at the external side of what's happening in our world right now, we have an incredible amount of instability. Geopolitical tension, economic contraction, the boom of the last few years that drove us through the post-COVID era, where governments were essentially printing money. There was an unprecedented economic growth that came from entrepreneurs stepping into new businesses, starting new things. Like many of you maybe here decided to start a business after getting let go from your job in the middle of COVID, or deciding that you want to do something else. There's so many entrepreneurs stepping into building new businesses. And that world that carried us through 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024 is now changing. All signs are pointing towards, over the next 6 months, a recession. And I don't say that from a place of fear, but more so from a place of let's confront what's actually happening right now. People are still buying, but they're cautious. Economic sentiment is trending downward. Business owners are pulling back on spending. And so we have this shifting landscape, geopolitically, economically, socially, that is radically changing the way that we lead our businesses as entrepreneurs. And I believe that over the next 12 to 18 months, entrepreneurs will need to do more with less. The complexity, the bloat, the inefficiency that can work in a business and can be hidden in a business when times are good will no longer be practical as we head towards this new era. And so I think AI becomes an incredible tool that we can use as entrepreneurs to do more with less, to be able to unlock new, not just opportunities, but efficiencies, so that we can streamline our businesses and not just survive through this next era, but truly thrive, to be able to stay ahead of the curve, to be able to innovate. As entrepreneurs, we're so great at uncovering opportunities. Where most people see crisis, what I see is a new opportunity to reinvent things, to do something different. And so that's what we're being called to right now in this moment as entrepreneurs, as everything around us is changing. And on the other hand, we have AI, which is the most important technology and the most impactful technology in the history of humanity. And it's hard for us to imagine the world that we are racing towards right now. I think we're right on this tipping point where there's a small number of people, like many of you who are in this room, who are actually aware of what's going on, or somewhat aware. Maybe we're somewhere in between. But by and large, 80, 90% of people in the world right now are asleep at the wheel. We are sitting on this massive tipping point in history. Several years down the line, this is not like super far into the future. We're talking by 2030, we will have super intelligent artificial general intelligence, a form of intelligence that is many times smarter than even the smartest human being, that will be able to replace or augment 90% of the work that you and I do today on a daily basis. It's crazy, isn't it? And so, as entrepreneurs, if you're asking the question right now, how do I prepare? How do I prepare my business for a changing world? What do I do about all this? Everything feels like it's changing around me. How do I make sure that my business is set up not just to survive, but to thrive? You're not alone. I've been having so many of these conversations behind the scenes with clients that I mentor, with other folks in the online business space. We're really at this inflection point right now. And I think it's normal to have a lot of feelings about that. Many of you said here, nervous, anxious, suspicious, as well as excited. In the wide range of emotions, I feel all those things too, pretty much on a daily basis, because I'm a human being. I have moments of fear. I have moments of anxiety. I have also moments where I'm like, wow, there is so much potential here. Over the last several months, I've really been leveraging in completely new ways AI in my own business, as well as with my clients, and it has radically changed the way I run my business. I've unlocked revenue opportunities that I had no idea existed. I've been able to 2 to 3x my productivity without hiring more team, without doing more work, accomplishing 3 times as much in the same amount of time. And what I'm seeing right now is there's this split happening in our world where there are entrepreneurs who are aware of AI, aware of how to leverage these tools, who are miles ahead. And then there's everybody else who is doing things like they've always done. It's the folks that were advertising in the yellow pages in the 90s, and then the internet came around and they said, the internet. Well, why would we create a website when we got the yellow pages? It's always worked for us. So this is a moment where as entrepreneurs, we get to decide who do we want to be. And that is why I'm so excited about this workshop, because it's so much deeper than here's a bunch of fancy AI tips and tricks to help you squeeze a little bit more revenue out of your business. This is so much deeper than that. This is about how we adapt and evolve as entrepreneurs through change. It's how we meet moments of radical change in our world with an opportunist mindset, responding from faith over fear. It's tempting to want to bury our head in the sand or to just keep doing things the way they've always done. But if you're here, it's because you know that there's a better way. It's because you're open, you're exploring, you're on the cutting edge. And that's why I really genuinely celebrate you for being here, for showing up to this experience. And I'm so excited to get to share this with you. So this is really our mission for the next 2 sessions, is I want to share with you everything you need to know, not only to leverage AI today in your business, but also to make sure that your business is set up to thrive as our world radically shifts. So that is our agenda. Day 1 is today. We're going to dive into practical use cases that you can basically take and apply into your business right now. So this is not stuff like tomorrow or next week. This is super practical stuff. I'm going to be sharing my screen, showing you a lot of demos, and basically walking you through, here's exactly how I'm using AI in my business today to generate more revenue, to uncover hidden opportunities, to create more efficiency in my business, to streamline my business model. I'm just going to show you a ton of demos, and I want to give you as many practical tools as possible so you can walk away with this workshop, from this workshop, with clarity. And you have at least half a dozen things that you can basically apply into your business right away that are going to massively move the needle for you. So that's what we'll be doing today. And on Tuesday, when we run day 2 of the workshop, we're going to be diving into the future of entrepreneurship, of online business in particular, what's changing with AI. Because the truth is, the stuff that worked in 2021 or 2022, the marketing strategies, the business models will not work. They already don't work today, or not as well, and they will not work heading into our new world. So we need to radically reinvent the way we think about our businesses and how we run to be able to adapt. And I want to share with you on day 2 my high level thoughts on what that looks like, on how to prepare, and how to make sure your business is set up to be future proof so that you create sustainable growth. You can continue to grow your business, but you can do so from a place of stability. Because you're not scrambling. You're not the kind of entrepreneur who's hanging on to the yellow pages when we're moving into the internet era. So that's our agenda for the next 2 sessions. Now, I think there's so much changing in the world of online business right now. And one of the things I wanted to do for all of you who are here or watching the replay is, a lot of folks, entrepreneurs I talk to, they're like, how do I actually take all this and apply this to my business? What changes do I need to make? How do I make sure my specific business is actually set up for success? So much of this is really, it's custom. The model that works for me is not necessarily going to be the model that works for you. So in order to help you with that and to help you get clarity on what those moves are, I'm opening up a limited number of free scaling blueprint sessions. Basically what this is an opportunity to get my eyes on your business. You fill out a quick survey. It takes a couple minutes, and I will review that in detail, take a look at your business, and map out what I think your number one biggest bottleneck is right now that's holding you back from growth in your business, as well as 3 key strategic shifts that you need to change, things that you can do right now in your business to make sure your business is better prepared for the future. This is for online business owners who are established, they're already making money, they've got revenue coming in the door, so not for you if you're brand new. Generally, this is essentially for online business owners, so coaches, consultants, service providers, folks who are running a business online. I do have a limited number of these spots. There's really no downside. There's no hidden sales pitch or something like that. If I think I can help you on a deeper level, I may invite you to a call where we can discuss what working together on a deeper level would look like. There's no obligation to take that next step. This is really my gift to you so that you can get tailored, personalized advice to make sure that you're set up for success in your business as we move into the future. So if you want to take advantage of that, there's a URL on the screen. You can go to jasonmoss.com/blueprint and just submit that. It takes 5 minutes. That will go directly to me, and I will review that personally. I'll take a look at your business. I will do as many as I can, but we've got, given we had 1,200 people sign up for this workshop, there will be a hard limit at some point because I'm not going to spend the next 3 weeks going through these. So I don't know where that limit is exactly. I don't have a hard number, but first come, first serve, essentially. So that's available to you if you want to take that next step. And I would encourage you to do so because I think it's a really awesome opportunity. And jasonmoss.com/blueprint, again, is the link if you want to take advantage of that. All right. So now some of you are new to my world, and we're going to get into the actual training in just a minute here. But I do want to introduce myself because I know we have a ton of people who are new here. So if this is the first time you've checked out something of mine, it's great to meet you. I'm glad you're here. My name is Jason Moss. I'm a business coach. I work exclusively with established online business owners, generally that 6-figure or above level. These are coaches, consultants, service providers, and help them scale. And I've been building online businesses for 18 years now. My first official online business, I was 13 years old, made my first sale online. I've been in this industry for a long time. I've signed over 2,000 clients. I've learned so much about what works and what doesn't. And so I have a unique vantage point. And I say that not from a place of ego, but more so just from a place of when you are helping hundreds and hundreds of entrepreneurs through the work that you do, I can see kind of how people are leveraging AI and applying AI. And it gives me this very unique perspective on how the industry as a whole is leveraging this today. So everything I'm about to share with you in this training is practical. It's based on what I've seen works for real entrepreneurs. So this is not just theory. This is not just like, hey, here's some things I read on some blog. This is what's working right now today for the entrepreneurs that I mentor and work with. So in terms of leveraging AI, I want to get super practical today and just share a ton of use cases with you. When I was thinking about this and reflecting on this, I realized that, right now where we are with AI, with chatbots like ChatGPT, like Claude, like Gemini, like Grok, there are some really practical use cases, things that I think most entrepreneurs aren't using right now, or many aren't using, that can just massively speed up your productivity, allow you to generate more revenue in less or the same amount of time. That's what we're going to cover today. So there are 3 buckets that I want to dive into in our training today. And so I'm going to share each of these buckets, and then we're going to actually go in. I'm going to share my screen here, and we're going to walk through a ton of use cases. I'm literally going to show you like live real-time demo how to actually leverage these things. So 3 buckets, 3 basically high leverage areas that I think you should be thinking about right now in your business when it comes to leveraging AI. The first is the one that probably most people are familiar with, which is using AI as a content creation partner. I use that word partner very intentionally because I think what I'm seeing right now is a lot of people are using AI like they use Google. It's here's a question or write me a piece of content. And it's very transactional, one way. Partnership is a completely different mindset. The more I leverage AI in my business, as well as the more that I'm using this with my clients, the more I realize the real power is not in this transactional one-way relationship. It's really in using AI as a partner, as a back and forth conversation. And so we're going to talk about first how to use AI basically to make better content, to create faster content, to improve the content that you create right now, and to unlock an incredible amount of opportunity there for you as a business owner. So that's the first bucket we're going to talk about. And I'm going to share some super practical stuff there. Number 2 is using AI as a strategic thought partner. This is the area that I think most entrepreneurs are not leveraging. And this changed my life when I started using this in my business. The truth is AI is an incredible thought partner for making high leverage strategic decisions in your business. It will uncover revenue generating opportunities that you have not thought of. It will show you holes in your current marketing strategy or approach. And when you learn to use it as a thought partner, you will blow miles ahead of the people who are not leveraging it this way. So that's the second bucket. And then the third, this is the one that even fewer people are actually using, but I think the one that actually has the most potential is AI as a coach or a self-development or self-reflection tool. I've been amazed by the amount of insight, personal insight and personal growth, as well as just coaching that I've been able to get from AI. It's an incredible tool for being able to develop and grow personally. And for those of you who are here, or maybe you've been following me for a while, my belief is that business growth always starts from the inside out. When you can become the kind of person who can hold the next level of business that you want, then the business will fall so much more easily into your lap. So I believe that all business growth really starts with personal growth. And we're going to talk about how to use AI as a personal development coach or self-reflection tool to be able to uncover insights, blind spots, patterns of thinking that are not serving you, and tailored opportunities for specific ways that you can grow. So these are the buckets that we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to dive into each of these in detail and share some super practical use cases with you so you have a ton of clarity walking away from this workshop as to how to implement this into your business. Now, I'm curious, for those of you who are here live, I'd love to hear in the chat as we dive into the first bucket here, which is going to be content creation. I'd love to hear, how are you using AI, or are you using AI to generate content today? So just share like in the chat, hey, maybe it's, I'm not really using it at all to do that. Or maybe it's, yep, I'm kind of using it. Hannah says I'm using it for 2 and 3 more than 1. Okay, cool. Johan says yes. Sylvia says yes, I ask advice for video creation. Yes, every day. Great. Claudia says I don't use it at all. Starting to use AI as a writing partner. Yes, for social media. Yes, all the time. Okay, cool. Yes, trying to make it sound authentic, me, and stand out. Okay, cool. So one of the biggest things that I heard from y'all was because I read, I sent out an email earlier this week. A lot of folks were saying, how do I basically make AI create content that sounds like me? We're going to talk about that today. I'm going to show you some really practical things that you can do to basically make AI write content in your voice. So there's a couple of different use cases for this. AI as a content creation partner. The first is obviously creating, repurposing, editing content. It sounds like many of you are using that already today. The second is creating images. ChatGPT in particular just released, this was several weeks ago, a brand new image generation module. And for those of you who have used image generation in the past with ChatGPT through their DALL-E model, which was an older model, it wasn't very good. This model, miles ahead. I've been using ChatGPT to create all of our ad images, and it's essentially replaced 80% of the work that I used to hire out a designer for. So I'm going to show you how to do that today. And then finally, in this spirit of using AI as a partner, also getting feedback to improve your copy, your designs, your images. AI is an incredible tool for feedback, for not just creating content from scratch, but for getting tailored insights on how you can improve your messaging to generate more leads and clients and ultimately speed up the entire process of creating content. So there are a couple of keys to success here, and then we're going to dive into some use cases. The first thing that I think is really important with content creation as a whole is a lot of people just stick with ChatGPT because that's the most well-known model. ChatGPT is great for creating content. It's a great writer, but if you've never experienced or experimented with some of the other AI LLM models out there, I think you're missing out, particularly with content creation. The best model out there for content creation other than ChatGPT is Claude, in my opinion. Claude has a very different tone to ChatGPT. It's more creative. ChatGPT is more direct. It's great for sales emails. It's great for promo emails where you have something to pitch. Claude is great for more creative writing. It's good for more personal brand-driven writing. And so if you've never experimented with some of these other models out there, one recommendation I have for you is try them. You can go out and try Claude right now. It's free. In addition to ChatGPT, and experiment with and start to understand the nuances in tone and how you work with these models. You might find that you like one versus the other for your specific style of content, or you might shift back and forth between them. Like I find Claude is really great at taking a piece of content that I've already created and refining it and tweaking it while maintaining the original tone. So I'll often use Claude for something like that versus ChatGPT for creating an original piece of content, like an email or a social media post or something like that. So experimenting with the different models. The other thing is, a lot of folks are like, how do I write content that sounds like me? This is one of the biggest questions people ask. We're seeing this homogenization right now of content across the board. And you can tell that pretty much everything is written by ChatGPT because it's overrun with emojis. It just has this tone that, when I post jobs on Upwork, when I hire people, 80% of the job, the cover letters that people submit to me are written by ChatGPT. And I can always tell because they got emojis all over the place. It just sounds like ChatGPT. And so in a world where so much content is being created by ChatGPT, having a unique brand voice is more important than ever. And the way to do that, to create content that sounds like you, is using either a brand voice doc, which I'm going to show you how to use, or a prompt that can actually match your writing style. And when you do this well, you can create content that sounds a lot more like you and avoid this homogenized over emoji type thing that is just going to make you sound like everybody else. And then finally, we talked about this idea of using or leveraging AI as a partner. This is really important too. The reason people have trouble with AI is because they think of it like Google. Like, I put in a question, it gives me an answer, done. I want you to think of AI like a conversation partner. And so you might ask AI, hey, create this piece of content, and it might give you a first draft. And then you might respond and give it some feedback, and then have a back and forth with AI. Don't treat it as a one-way street, as a transactional relationship. The more you can learn to ask the right questions, to get clear about what you want, and how to work with AI just like you would work with an employee or someone on your team, giving them feedback, coaching them, helping them improve, the better results you're going to get with AI. So, we're going to talk about how to use AI now to write actual content. The first thing I want to show you here, and I'm going to pull this up, is using a brand voice doc or prompt to create content in your voice. So, when it comes to leveraging AI for content creation that sounds like you, there are two ways that I found to do this really well. The first way is creating what's called a brand voice doc. This is my brand voice doc. And by the way, I will send a template of this after our call today to everyone via email. So you have this and you can basically work with this and basically plug in your own style to make a brand voice doc that's going to work for you. So this brand voice doc basically gives AI guidance about what your writing style sounds like. So you'll notice there are multiple sections here. This first section is a voice overview. So this is basically some principles about how you write. You'll see here, and you may recognize this if you've been on my email list for a while. This is how I would describe my brand voice: honest and unfiltered, wise mentor meets straight talking friend. These are things, by the way, that I came up with by just plugging content into ChatGPT and saying, how would you describe my brand voice? So if you're wondering how to actually create this, use ChatGPT or use AI as a thought partner to help you actually figure out what you need to put in your brand voice doc. Core tone rules is another section that I'll add. So this is really important because this basically describes your writing style. So you'll notice if you follow me, I use a lot of ellipses and my sentences are very short and punchy. And I oftentimes separate like short blocks of text that drive you down the page. So I've put all these rules here. So when AI writes, it follows these rules. I also said here, I do not use emojis. So if you're wondering how to get around, and AI has been a little bit better at this lately, I think particularly ChatGPT has made some changes to their models and they don't use as many emojis as they used before. But if you're annoyed with how many emojis you get when you create a piece of content, just put it as a rule. My audience, who I'm writing to, their biggest fears, their biggest desires. So when AI is creating content for me, it's automatically paying attention to this. So it's going to write for my audience. And then finally, some examples of my best content. So these are actual emails that I have here. And so what I might do here is I might say, write a 200-word email I can send out to my list promoting the AI Savvy Entrepreneur Workshop. It's the last day to sign up. So I want to make sure people are aware of that. Follow the guidelines in the brand voice doc attached and make sure that the writing style closely reflects the guidelines and tone outlined in the brand voice doc. And then I'll go ahead and I'll attach it. And let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. It's actually going to read the document, it's going to study the document, and then it's going to write an email. So notice, it's using ellipses. It's writing, this sounds close to me. And it doesn't have a bunch of emojis in it. So it's actually going to use those guidelines to create content that sounds a lot more like me. And this is one way to create content in your voice. It's not going to be 100% perfect. You might take this, for example, if I was actually doing this offline, I might take this and I might work with it a little bit. So I might say, I don't really love that line about not holding anything back. Can you try another variation that's more grounded and authentic? And so it will revise it. And then what I might do is I might work through this and I'll give it a couple of revisions, and then I'll take this and I'll paste it into Google Docs and I'll go through it and I'll basically clean up anything that doesn't sound like me. And so basically, this is one way to leverage AI to get you closer to your brand voice. Again, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to get you a lot closer than if you just go into ChatGPT or Claude or some of these tools and just basically ask it to create content without any guidelines. So this is one way of doing this. The second way of doing this that I found works incredibly well is you can actually include real life content in line in the prompt. So there's a prompt here, and hopefully you guys can see this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. So this prompt says, analyze the following content samples to identify the voice, tone, structure, and key stylistic elements. Then use this analysis to create a new piece of content on the topic given. So this is a whole prompt. And so in the example tags, in between the example tags, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste a couple of examples of emails that I've sent out. So I'm just going to copy those from my brand voice doc. I'll put them in here. So now it has a couple of examples of what my writing sounds like. And then in the topic tags, I'm just going to put a 200-word thought leadership piece about AI. And so let's copy and paste this into ChatGPT. Let's see what it comes up with. So it's actually going to do some thinking here because I prompted it, think through the stylistic choices, structure, and themes inside thinking tags, then write a well-matched piece in the content tags. So it says, Jason's writing is bold, honest, emotionally aware. So it's basically coming up with his own mini brand voice doc right in line. So it says, here's basically my style. Here's the themes, avoid hype. Reframe AI as a conscious leader lever, which is those themes were basically taken from the content that I fed it. And then it's creating a piece of content. And you'll notice short, choppy lines. A lot of the way that I actually write and communicate is right here. I mean, I love this. Like, how can I use AI to scale that identity? For those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I often talk about identity work. It's literally the first step of our CEO Freedom Formula framework that I use when I work with six-figure plus entrepreneurs. So this is taking stylistic elements as well as those deeper thought leadership components and integrating it into this piece of content. Now, is this perfect? No. I might go back and again, I'm going to give it feedback, but this is going to get you so much closer than if you're just going into AI and feeding it, write me an email like this. So these two tools, brand voice prompt and the brand voice doc, and I will share both of these with you after we actually get offline here. So I'll send an email out with these so you have these. Incredible tools to be able to basically create content that sounds more like you. So I'm going to go ahead and hop back over here. I'm curious how that landed for you. For those of you who are here live, couple of questions. John says, Jason, could we get templates of the prompts? Yeah, we'll definitely share those afterwards. And you may have to upgrade for $20 a month for something like ChatGPT. It's the cheapest $20 you'll ever spend in your life. I think you got to go out there and go for it. And for those of you who are, I mentioned, Johan mentioned privacy concerns. This is something we do have to think about as entrepreneurs because by default, at least with ChatGPT, I don't think Claude does this, but ChatGPT will automatically use your responses to train its models. So if you have proprietary business information that you're sharing or frameworks that you don't want ChatGPT to use in its models, there's actually a setting. If you go into the ChatGPT settings, I'll show you. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Let me share my screen again. So this is just the settings, and I access this by going up here to settings. If we go to, where is it? Okay, so it's under data controls. If you turn off this improve the model for everyone, ChatGPT won't use your data to train its model, which means your data won't end up being used in other people's responses. So that's something as entrepreneurs we want to pay attention to. The Teams version of ChatGPT actually has that enabled by default. So you don't have to worry about that if you're using the Teams version. You don't have any control over it if you're using free, but if you do have a paid version, even the Plus version, you will be able to do that. All right. So hopefully that is useful. Kenneth says, do we need to upload the brand voice doc each time we want to write something, or do we upload once and modify future docs from there? So what you can do is you can actually just upload the doc and you can tell ChatGPT, I want you to use this as my default brand voice. Every single time I ask you to write a piece of content or an email, reference this document and reference the guidelines in this document to write content in my style until I tell you otherwise. And that way you can basically have it store that information and it will use that in the future. I found that sometimes that doesn't work as well as feeding it the doc every single time. I'm not sure why that is, but yeah. So hopefully that helps. Okay. I like to think about the cost of software compared to cost of hiring an employee. Yeah, AI is the cheapest employee you will ever hire in your life. There's so many things that I'm doing in my business today that I used to hire people for that I mean, AI can essentially do. And this thing that I'm about to share with you right now is a great example of this. So a lot of people are sleeping on ChatGPT and just AI in general to create ad images. And so I want to show you basically, or just images in general, I want to show you some use cases for how you might leverage AI today to be able to do that. Let's take a look here. So I was just updating our ad images and our retargeting ads the other day. And what I did was, and I'll show you an example of what this might look like. So let's say I want you to come up with a few different concepts for meta ad images I can use to advertise my AI savvy entrepreneur workshop. So first what I'll do, and there are many different ways you can leverage this, but first I'll generally have AI come up with some concepts. So this is a great way, by the way, if you're doing something like YouTube, you can have it come up with thumbnail concepts. You can have it come up with ad image concepts if you're running or leveraging ads, or even if you're just doing organic social media. I think there's an incredible opportunity to use ChatGPT to be able to do stuff like this. So I'm just going to go through these concepts, and oftentimes they're just great ideas that it will come up with. So let's see here. What do I want to have it create? Let's say I want to have it create this old way versus the new way. So it's a side by side. On one side, we have an entrepreneur looking stressed with dozens of tabs open. On the other side, we have a clean AI dashboard. So I'm going to ask it, can you create a mock-up of concept number 4? And let's see what it comes up with. What I've found is the new image generation model is incredibly good. And for those of you who actually signed up for this workshop, if I show you my actual ad account, I'll show you the actual images that I used. All of these were created by AI. So what I did was I used AI to create the concepts. Sometimes I brought them into Canva and I would tweak them a little bit, but all of these images here were actually AI generated images. So the days of needing a graphic designer to create really great images are behind us. That doesn't mean there isn't value in having a graphic designer, but oftentimes you can use AI to create really great images that are fantastic, that will work for ads. Okay, so it's a little bit slow. This kind of feels like the days of dial-up. For those of you who are around in the 90s or the 2000s where we had like AOL. Okay, so we got the old way on the left and we got the new way on the right. And I'm not going to belabor the point here. You can see this is a pretty high quality image. The people look like people. The hands look like hands. If you ever experienced AI generated images in the past and you would ask it to create a hand and it would just, the hand would look like it was like some cyborg hand. That's not happening anymore. So this is a pretty decent first pass image. I don't think this is amazing, but we can use this and we can basically start with this. We might say, I like the general design, but can you make it a square image that will work as an ad? Also, make the old way entrepreneur look more stressed out. And let's see what it comes up with. So again, this is an example of using AI as more of this partnership model where we're not just feeding it information and getting back a response, but using it more as a collaborator. And so we'll see what it comes up with next. We're going to come back to this as essentially as we go, because I don't want to waste time. But my use cases for this, again, I've been using AI to create all of my ad images. So you can see all of these images here. These are all AI generated images. And sometimes I'll use the concepts and then I'll replicate them in Canva, or I'll have someone on my team, like we have a graphic designer who helps us out with YouTube, and I'll just give him concepts. So I'll take these concepts and I'll use these as mock-ups, and I'll send them over to him and I'll say, hey, create this into a better looking thumbnail. And so now he's 50% of the way there. So this is an incredible new tool, and I think it's only just going to get better. Okay, so you can see the old way now. Okay, that entrepreneur is definitely looking a lot more stressed. This is more of a square image. So maybe we might need to go back and forth a couple times, but ultimately, this is not that far off from an image that I would use in a Meta ad. So do we need a fancy graphic designer anymore? Probably not. Okay, Dan says, are you able to take over the entire screen? Yeah, if you change your view in Zoom, you'll be able to actually see me on a bigger level. So you should be able to see it. Shawshank says, do you post it yourself or does an AI agent take care of it? So right now, I post stuff myself. I think we'll talk about AI agents on Tuesday. We're still in the early days with AI agents, and there's some exciting possibilities there. But we're still maybe, I would say, 6 months before the moment where you're going to have an AI assistant who's going to be able to go out there and schedule content and things like that. Okay, so hopefully that opens up some doors and illuminates some possibilities. Now, there's one or two other things I want to share with you on content creation. The third here is something that I've just found so exciting, which is actually using AI to get feedback on not only your existing written content, but on designs, on images, on landing pages, on layouts. And so I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like today. So we have a landing page here that we built for the Scaling Blueprint, which, by the way, if you go claim one of those, which I would highly recommend because it's completely free, you will go to a page that looks something like this. And I want to get some feedback on this page to see what's working and how can I optimize it for more conversions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go, actually, I'll just, let's say, screenshot this. So I just took a screenshot of that, and I'm going to drag it into ChatGPT. I'm going to say, pretend you're an expert internet marketer who is world-class at designing high-converting landing pages. Attached is an image of one of my landing pages. Review it and give me feedback and suggestions on how I can optimize it for higher conversions. All right, let's see what ChatGPT comes up with. Okay, so we're off to a strong start. It's always going to tell me what's working. Okay, so let's see. First of all, tweak the headline, add specificity and proof. Want to scale without working harder? I agree. It's a pretty broad headline that doesn't really make a specific claim or promise. How six-figure business owners scale to 30K plus months without hustling harder is a much stronger headline. So this is a great piece of feedback. Above the fold CTA reinforcement. The CTA button is strong, but consider adding a subline directly beneath it to reduce friction. No sales call, no pressure, just a strategy tailored to you. That's great. That's a great suggestion because it's going to eliminate those objections and those barriers that might hold people back from taking that next step. Add a bold thumbnail headline over the video. Here's how I'd scale your business in under 2 minutes. Pretty good. If I made these changes here, and I'm looking at these, I'm like, I should probably do this. If I made these changes here, conversion rates would probably, and I could probably ask, if I made all of these changes, how much impact would you expect that it would have on conversion rates? Okay, so it's going to give me estimated conversion rate updates here. So we're talking about a 25 to 30%, 35% in terms of a low estimate conversion uplift just by making these changes. Pretty incredible, right? So the days of needing to have, high level feedback on your landing pages, on your marketing funnel from a professional, from someone like me, are behind us. I think because, quite honestly, the level of feedback here is really good. And I use this all the time in our business to optimize our funnel, to optimize our marketing, and essentially to be able to increase conversions throughout our funnel. So pretty cool. And I'm sorry, I know a couple of you are saying that it's a little bit blurry. Unfortunately, it may just be the streaming, but we will send a replay after that will be higher quality. So hopefully you can get the gist of this without necessarily needing to see all of the details. All right, so one more thing I want to share on content creation, and then we're going to move on. One of the things that I think is most exciting about using AI is as a tool to basically augment your sales process and to be able to create follow-up strategies as well as follow-up messages and things like that that can basically just speed up the sales process itself and make it more likely that you close more deals. So I want to show you some examples of that. One example I want to show you here is, so I have a transcript of a sales call, and I'll just show you here. So this is not a real transcript. This is actually based on a real transcript, but I anonymized it, so there's no personal data here from the actual person I spoke to. But we have a transcript here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into ChatGPT. Actually, we don't even need to copy and paste in. I'm just going to drag this PDF, and I'm going to say, attached is a transcript from a recent sales call I did with a prospective client. Pretend you're an expert in high ticket, non-pressure, high integrity sales. Write a grounded, authentic, and warm follow-up message, email, I can send to this prospective client one day after the call. It should outline what we spoke about, their core pain points, desires, and next steps. Make it short, easy to skim, and end on a positive note. All right, let's see what it comes up with. So it's going to read the entire sales call transcript, and it's going to compose a customized email based on the specific pain points that Chris, in this case, not his real name, spoke about, as well as his desires and challenges and next steps. This is a phenomenal follow-up email. And if you want to increase your conversion rates, one of the easiest ways to do it is just send emails like this after the call that recap, here's what we spoke about, here's what you said you wanted, here's the goal, here's where we're going to connect. I mean, this is an email that I would copy and paste and send out. I think this is a phenomenal email. It's probably a little bit long. But using AI as a tool to be able to send follow-ups, one other way that I leverage this is I use it for sales call notes. So I used to take handwritten notes, and then whenever I would do sales calls, I would copy those notes into the CRM that I have. And now I've just set up Zapier to basically automatically take the transcript to summarize the key pain points, the desires, basically exactly where people are, and to automatically add that into my CRM. So every single sales call, I save 10 minutes of time transcribing notes, and the notes are way better than the notes that I came up with. So this is an example of how you might leverage AI in your sales process to be able to increase conversion rates and close more deals. Just says, this is a great strategy, Jason. Yeah, for sure. Is Zapier similar to Supernormal or better? I'm not sure. I don't know Supernormal, but Zapier is a great way to automate. And there's a ChatGPT plugin in Zapier. So basically, you can connect ChatGPT with all of the apps that you might use. And for those of you who are wondering, how do we actually do this? Yeah, so we do record sales calls. I use an app called Fathom. It's free, and it allows people to essentially record their conversations over Zoom, and it displays a notice so people are aware. It's not like a private thing that people aren't aware that they're being recorded, but it will send a transcript to the person afterwards. It will send a summary afterwards. It's one of the best tools that I found, especially for coaching. Ariel says, curious everyone's take. I know this is the future, but does anyone else feel a little uncomfy with sending things you didn't write yourself, especially one-to-one? Nothing against what you're doing. Yeah. So I think this is where I think we're moving towards a world where where rather than seeing it as this is me and this is AI, it's more like AI and human beings become more fused into one. So it's not that I'm just going to copy and paste, and sometimes I might, but I might read something through, I might tweak it a little bit, and I'll use it as a collaborative tool. So I think the days of, there being like it's 100% me or 100% AI, this kind of binary black and white thinking, it's behind us. And we just, I think as a world, we have to get comfortable that more and more of what we create is going to be a collaborative process. It doesn't mean that it's not infused with our values, with our humanity, with us. It just means that this is a tool, just like using a computer is a tool or language is a tool. There was a certain point where we didn't have words, and now we have words. And so we use words to be able to communicate ideas. But now we have AI to be able to communicate those ideas and to layer on top of what we're actually, doing. So I don't see it as a bad thing. I see it as how can we leverage these tools to be able to communicate in a way that's authentic to us. Yeah. Jesse says, it reminds me of executives using AI or using personal assistant to write their emails and similar things. It would take some getting used to, for sure. This is a change. This is this is a big shift for us. Okay, so those are some demos that hopefully will spark some ideas in terms of content creation. I'm curious, for those of you who are here live, let me know, out of all the things that we just showed you or we just talked about, what are you most excited about based on everything that you just saw? What's maybe like one use case that you're like, wow, that was awesome, I'm going to go use that right away, or I can use this for this? I'd be very curious to hear what your insights are. Just says the last one was hot. Yeah, for sure. When I had that moment where I was like, oh my God, I can just have a transcript and just feed it into AI and have it generate customized emails and insights and things like that. Incredible. Katie says, definitely going to get it to review my website sales page. Adrian, transcript to follow-up email. Yeah, powerful. Shawshank says, vague question, what percentage of your cost as AI tools is very low? I mean, we probably spend like $250 a month on AI right now. This is a business that's doing like $500,000 a year. So it's like 1%, if that, of overall revenue. John says, better prompts and personalization. Kenneth says, I like the collaborative aspect to focus, refine my mission, my business. Jesse says, I'm excited to use AI as a coach and a collaborating more. Cool. Love that, guys. All right, let's move on. Now, by the way, if you're watching all this right now again, and you're like, okay, what does this mean for my business? How do I adapt and change? And what model shifts do I need to make? Because hopefully, as you're seeing more of this, you're realizing like this is a fundamental shift in in the way that we create. And there's a lot of implications that this has for how you run your business. So if you're looking for clarity on what that looks like and you want my personal eyes on your business, this is not AI. This is me actually taking a look at your business and advising you on like, here's the three shifts that I would make. Again, we've got a limited number of spots open for that personalized scaling blueprint, where you fill out a survey. It takes a couple minutes and that will go directly to me. And again, this is only for established online business owners who are already generating revenue, signing clients, who really want that personalized insight to help them scale with more stability and more consistency heading into this new era. So again, if you want to take advantage of that, the link is on the screen, jasonmoss.com/blueprint. Fill that out now because we've got a limited number of spots. And again, we had a ton of people sign up for this workshop. So I want to make sure that you get in if you want to claim that. All right, so let's move on. We talked about AI as a content creation partner. I want to move on and talk about AI as a strategic thought partner, which I think there's even more potential as to how you can leverage this to be able to significantly increase the revenue coming into your business. So a couple of use cases for this: brainstorming strategies, uncovering opportunities and blind spots, expert level strategic feedback. Hopefully you're starting to see the potential for this as we use this. This is not just a tool to create content for you. This, as I'm using this AI today in my business, it is a thought partner companion. I am leveraging AI all day, every day. And I am using it to stress test strategic moves, to bounce ideas off like I would bounce ideas off a mentor or a business partner. I'm using it to clarify my thinking, to be able to chart a path ahead and a course ahead and refine and optimize my strategy. And so I think there's so much potential here to be able to use these tools to make better strategic decisions, to get clear on what moves you need to make next in your business. And I think there are a couple keys to doing this well. Again, number one is treat this as a conversation partner. Also, providing a role can be very helpful. You've seen me do this. Act as a expert level internet marketer. Act as a high level business coach with decades of experience helping online business owners scale. When you can provide AI with a role to help frame the context around the conversation, you're going to get much better results. And then finally, I found, particularly with these new tools, ChatGPT just released basically a limited memory feature. So it used to be that it wouldn't remember the things that it talked about with you, but now it remembers all of your conversations. So what this means is the more you use these tools, the better they get to know you, and the more tailored and specific and actionable your insights will be. When I work with ChatGPT today, because I've used it so much, it knows the details about my business. It knows my avatar. It knows my offers. It knows my biggest bottlenecks. And so everything that it's giving back to me takes that information into account. And it's like having a trusted advisor that knows your business really well. So just know that as you use these tools on a deeper level, they will learn your business on a deeper level and they will become more and more valuable. So let's talk about how to use this. I want to share a couple demos. The first thing I want to show you is actually literally something I was just doing yesterday. So I've been really curious and aware of what's going on in the economy right now, because one of the things that I'm really working on with the clients that I work with and mentoring people through this time is, it's very clear that we're headed into a period of economic contraction. Whether or not we end up in a recession, I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I think it's fairly likely based on where everything's pointing to. And again, I don't share that from a place of fear. I share that from a place of, as entrepreneurs, it's important that we see what's up ahead and that we adapt our business model to meet market conditions and the mindsets and perspectives that our ideal clients are in. So right now, people are a little bit more cautious. And so I've been thinking a lot about our messaging strategy and how that needs to shift and evolve. And the last few years, there's been this messaging around like kind of blind optimism. It's like scale, scale, scale. It's all about growth. And the message that I'm really shifting towards in this new era, because of a conversation that I had with ChatGPT the other day, is much more attuned to where we are in the world right now. It's more about scaling with stability. It's more about leveraging these tools to create operational efficiency. So, in order to help me come up with this new messaging strategy, here's what I did. So, if you've never used the deep research tool in any of these AIs, this is one of the most underrated and under-leveraged features any of these tools have that almost no one's talking about. You can do hours of research on any topic in about 5 minutes, and it will condense mass amounts of information into something that is really easy to understand and will allow you to make high-level strategic insights and connect dots so much more quickly than if you would have had to go out and do that research by yourself. So I'm going to say, pretend you're a world-class expert economic advisor. You have a deep understanding of geopolitical factors, macroeconomic conditions, and have seen the world through many of these shifts and changes. I am an online business owner who serves six-figure plus online business owners, and I am looking for guidance on how to adapt my messaging to meet changing market conditions. I want you to do research on current economic conditions, consumer sentiment, business sentiment, based on recent data as close as possible to April 2025. From there, I want you to summarize where you think we are headed economically over the next 6 months and how you think my core brand promise and message and positioning, scale to 7 figures, needs to adapt to better meet a changing market and world. Cool. That's an example of a great prompt, by the way. Okay, so it's going to say, tell me a little bit more about your business, and it's going to ask some follow-up questions. So I'll say coaching, business coaching, typical clientele, 6-figure plus online business owners, coaches, consultants, and service providers. And then the tone and messaging I currently use will say scale to multi 6 or 7 figures while working less. Okay. So here's what it's going to do. And this is going to take a little bit of time. So we're going to come back to this. What it's going to do is it's going to go out and do a bunch of research. And you'll see here, it's already doing this research. So it's going out and it's reading articles, it's scouring the web, it's scouring economic data, and it's basically doing what would take you probably 3 to 4 hours of research if you were doing this on your own. It's going to take all that information, it's going to compile it into a very actionable, practical report showing me how I need to shift my messaging moving forward. And when I see something like this, and you'll see the report in a bit, once we come back to this, you're just going to be blown away. And I think there's so much potential here for folks who are using these kinds of approaches to make better strategic decisions, to be able to optimize their strategy as we move towards the future. So incredible thing there. And we'll come back to that in a minute or two once that research is done. What I do want to do is I want to move on to another use case. And these are some examples of questions that you might ask AI that will become more and more useful the more that you use these tools. As AI has learned so much about me and my business, I can ask it really useful strategic decisions, strategic insights, and it will give me perspectives that I may not be aware of. So we're going to do this again. And while this messaging prompt is running in the background, I'm going to ask it, based on everything you know about my business, what are the biggest high ROI opportunities you think I'm missing right now? So keep in mind, because I've been working with ChatGPT for quite a while, it knows the details of my business. It knows where I am strategically. It knows where I want to go, my vision, my goals. So everything is customized to that. So here's what it's going to tell me. YouTube channel as a long-term demand engine. Status, you've dabbled, but not systematized. I think this is true. Our YouTube channel has been a little bit kind of like this weird hanging vine on our business that I haven't really doubled down on strategically. So this is a big opportunity for us right now. And right off the bat, it identified that. It showed me some clear action steps that I can take. Turning the scaling blueprint funnel into an evergreen authority engine. That's interesting. So retargeting, turning it into an evergreen YouTube CTA. These are great suggestions because it knows that I have this funnel, that we've built out this funnel together. And here are some opportunities for me to better leverage this. Sales call optimization and objection handling system. You're close to elite, but leaving money on the table. Okay. So here's a couple of suggestions for how I can increase my close rate. This, by the way, is based on dozens of transcripts that it has read from real life sales conversations that I've had. So this is not just generic advice. This is tailored to me and my business. AI powered chatbot or lead qualifier on my website. It's power partnerships. So just from one simple question, I've got so many valuable strategic insights that I can leverage. And I might ask it like, based on everything you know about me and my business, what would be the number one thing on this list you think would create the highest ROI with the least time and energy investment? And I'll let it figure it out. Okay, fully optimizing and automating your scaling blueprint funnel. Great. So this is a great suggestion. And there's clearly a lot more opportunity for us to be able to leverage this. So what is AI doing? It's basically giving me guidance on what I need to do next to grow my business. And it's kind of nuts. It's really good. And what I found is the more that I've used and leveraged AI, the better its insights and suggestions have gotten. And I've implemented things in here that will put us on track to generating at least another $100,000 to $300,000 over the next 12 months, just based on implementing suggestions from this tool. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. So we're still working on the messaging deep research. We're about halfway done. Kind of says, awesome, you're working on your business in real time. Yeah, I get paid to come up with strategy ideas on the fly. Dan says, do you need to ask it for a specific region or global? What are the general defaults with LLMs if you don't prompt granularity? So I think that when in doubt, just be more specific. So if you're looking for a specific region, you'll just need to let it know. Les says, how do I make Jason picture bigger? There's a setting at the top of Zoom. There's a view setting. If you go from gallery to speaker, you'll be able to zoom out. And that should give you me on a bigger screen. Dan says, right now I just use the free chat, but we'll definitely upgrade. What is the data limit per prompt for the paid version? Yeah, it's changing all the time because right now, ChatGPT in particular, and I know we're just leveraging ChatGPT right now. There's other great tools. Claude is particularly good. Gemini is great too. Grok can be very useful. The data limits have actually varied. And ChatGPT right now is going through a capacity problem. They have so many people using their service and so many new people signing up for it that they literally don't have enough GPUs to be able to power their servers and to be able to actually serve all these users. So the limits have actually changed over time. But I think Plus for most people is more than enough. It's $20 a month and it's going to get you 80%, 90% of what you need. And I think it's the best $20 that you'll ever spend in your life. And I have no affiliation with ChatGPT other than the fact that I use this tool every day. So we're going to move on. We'll actually come back to this messaging prompt, the deep research, in a couple minutes because it's going to take a little bit of time. But I really want you guys to see how this tool is is being used and how I'm using it in my business today to make research-backed, data-driven decisions. Well, again, if you're watching all of this and you're like, okay, there's a lot here. What do I do next in my business? How do I prepare? How do I make sure my specific business is set up to thrive? Again, we've got a limited number of spots available for that scaling blueprint. And you can go to jasonmoss.com/blueprint, go fill that out. That will go directly to me. And you'll get a customized video that was recorded directly by me. Not AI, not just something plugged into a system, but me actually taking a look at your business and advising you on what your best next steps are based on where you are and how to implement some of these things so you can thrive heading into our new world. So we're going to move on. We're going to talk about AI as a coach or self-reflection tool. And I leave the best for last because I think that this is, out of all the things that I've been using AI for lately, I think the thing that has created the biggest opportunities for growth and forward momentum has been using AI not just to optimize my external strategy, but to really uncover my own opportunities for growth on a personal level. So much of entrepreneurship is an inside out game. And when I help and mentor entrepreneurs, the message that I think is really the foundation of everything I teach is that business growth starts from the inside. Your business is a perfect match for who you are today. The challenges, the problems, the revenue, the clients that you have. And so if you want to grow your business, you first have to grow yourself. And you grow first, and then the business rises to meet you. That is how growth works. After mentoring and helping thousands of entrepreneurs, that's how I've always seen it. The entrepreneurs who just try to change the outside without changing the inside, nothing changes. So I'm really excited about using and leveraging AI as a personal coach, as a self-reflection tool. I think it's the best therapist I've ever had. I think it's one of the best coaches I've ever had. It provides a very unique perspective and level of attunement and awareness that has uncovered blind spots for me and opportunities that I had no idea even existed. So a couple of use cases for this. I think the first thing is reflecting on your own internal blocks or resistance or misalignments or identity changes. And all business growth really starts with identity. It's an incredible tool for this. Mindset shifting, energetic alignment, reframing limiting beliefs, emotional patterns, processing complex decisions, when to push, when to rest, how to show up, how to lead, how to respond in certain situations. Using it as a personal coach is perhaps, I think, the biggest unfair advantage that we as entrepreneurs have, and particularly the folks who are really leveraging AI in this way. There's so many people, most people who are using AI, it's very surface level. It's the people who are using it with depth that have the moment, like the moment I had maybe several months ago where I was like, holy crap, this is going to change the world. And I've had that moment so many times as I've dove deeper and as I've leveraged these tools on a deeper and deeper level. So yeah, Misty says, I taught Fed mine. Love that you have a name for your AI. All kinds of info, re-medical condition. She has been a huge support and champion biz stuff aside. Yeah, people are having this moment right now where they're realizing that AI has a level of attunement. I struggle to use the word empathy because it's not real empathy, but there's a level of feigned empathy and self-awareness that is remarkable. As a coach, as someone who's coaching people every single day, I think there's incredible potential here. Amanda says, are we worried AI will replace coaches and therapists? We're going to talk more about that on day 2. The short answer for me is I'm not worried. I am optimistic. I'm excited. I think this is going to open up access to a whole new segment and group of people who otherwise would not have access to the type of support that we might provide. And I think that the best therapists and coaches of the future will be leveraging AI in the way that they serve their clients as a tool to create deeper transformations and more personalized experiences and to help people grow in a much deeper way. So I don't think it's an either or. I think we have to get away from this mindset of, it's AI or it's me. I think it's a both and. And the most successful entrepreneurs, the most successful service providers that I'm seeing right now in the market are looking at this as it's both. It's not AI is taking my job. It's AI is going to help me do my job better. AI is going to allow me to serve in a much deeper way and to accomplish so much more and to transform other people's lives in a much deeper way. I think that's the mindset of success around this. So we're going to go ahead and dive in here. I want to share some practical use cases for AI as a coach or a self-reflective tool. The first thing is kind of an extension of what we talked about earlier. Here's what I've been doing that I just love. I'm a big fan of feedback in business because I think feedback is how you grow. And one of the most challenging things about running a business is you're doing things all the time, but it's really difficult to get feedback unless you have someone like a coach or someone who's working with you who can actually listen to your sales calls or can watch your webinars and be able to give you tailored specific guidance. Here's what I've been doing lately. And I will do this after this training today. So I've got my tool Fathom in here that's recording this call. And after I get off this call, I'm going to take the transcript and I'm going to copy and paste it into ChatGPT. And I'll just do this as an example with a sales call transcript that we used from earlier. And I'm going to say, pretend you're an expert sales coach with decades of experience helping high ticket business coaches close more deals with high integrity sales. Attached is a transcript from a recent sales call I ran. Review the entire transcript and give me feedback on what I did well as the biggest things I can improve. Okay. This blew my mind the first time that I did this because I saw the potential of this. Just a simple prompt like this, if you're doing a couple sales calls a week, or you're doing a couple webinars a month, and rather than just running the webinars, every single time you do a sales call or a webinar, you just plug it into AI and you get feedback. Think about the compounding effect of that over the course of 3 months, 6 months, a year, just by having feedback every single day at scale. And I can tell you, the feedback that you get from a tool like this is world-class. It's literally incredible. So what did I do exceptionally well? Pre-framing the offer, active listening, deep empathy, summarizing with clarity and ownership, maintaining high integrity energy, areas to sharpen. So it's going to give me specific feedback, anchor the ROI sooner and stronger. Okay, so you said you're missing out on $100K a year. Just a few ships could easily cover the investment, but it needed more teeth. So it's going to give me very specific feedback as an expert level sales coach. And these are practical things that I can take into my follow-up call or my next sales call to be able to increase the chance that I close more deals. Pre-handling the partner objection. Okay, so it's going to walk me through how to do this. You could have used future pacing more. So this is incredible. Your invitation was soft, which wasn't wrong, but it left space for drift. I mean, this is just so useful and so valuable. So it's going to grade my call as an A-, room to improve. And again, you can do this for sales call transcripts. You can do this for coaching calls. This is how I'm becoming a better coach right now. Every single coaching call I do, I just plug the transcript in and I ask for feedback. And it's identified so many opportunities for growth for me, as well as webinars. If you're running live trainings, if you're doing YouTube videos, just plug the transcripts in. Think about the power of compounding feedback over time. I think this is one area of massive opportunity for us as entrepreneurs to be able to grow. Amanda says, smart. That is an awesome feedback tool, Reba. Wow. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. The first time I did that, I was like, oh my God, this is going to change my life as a business owner. Ed says, had no idea, would never have thought to use AI for feedback. Yeah, really cool. Really cool. John says, this is great information. I'm definitely going to watch the recording again. Cool. Awesome. Okay. So we've got AI as a tool to be able to coach and to be able to provide feedback. One other thing I want to show you here is I want to show you how you can use AI to identify your blind spots. Now, this is one of these things that when you start working with AI over an extended period of time. It will get to know you. It will start to identify patterns in your thinking. And the real power in using a tool like this is to be able to expose, I think, what those internal opportunities for growth really are. So I'm a little bit afraid to ask this in front of everyone, but I'm going to do it anyways. So based on everything I've ever typed here, what are my top 5 business blind spots? Okay, let's see. Overfunctioning CEO, doing too much for too long. You rationalize holding on to tasks, especially marketing, strategy, and tech, under the guise of quality control or speed, but it's often a bottleneck disguised as productivity. By the way, if you knew me, you would know that this is spot on. So this is an incredibly useful insight. Content bottleneck. You're the voice, but not the engine. Your brand is rooted in your voice, but because so much is filtered through you, content volume and consistency lag behind what your authority and quality deserve. You've built the machine, but you're still the one turning the crank. Whew, good stuff. Selling to the wrong side of the line. Your funnels, your messaging, your sales process still attracts too many beginners. Your content and ads still occasionally speak to pain points of the almost there entrepreneur, diluting your positioning and causing misalignment in sales calls. This is, if you knew me, you would know that all of these things are things that I'm working through and challenges that I'm dealing with as an entrepreneur right now. And just the value of having this perspective, game changer. What I've found is the more that I've used AI as a tool for self-reflection like this, the more that it has clarified for me exactly where my opportunities for growth are, not just as a business owner, but personally too. So there's a mirror effect that is so incredibly profound. And I think this is really the opportunity on the deepest level that the folks who are using tools like AI to be able to do this deeper work are just going to blow miles ahead of people who are not leveraging these tools to do this kind of stuff. So let's move back to adapting our messaging. Okay, we're almost done here. I want to see if there's one more. I think that's a particularly useful question. So what beliefs, let's say, based on everything you know about me, what beliefs are at the root of what's holding me back from scale? Here's another incredibly powerful coaching question. Jason, based on everything you've shared, your strategic mind, systems fluency, high standards, desire to lead with integrity. Okay, if I want it done right, I have to do it myself. Who here can relate to that? Definitely something I've been unwiring for a while. Control keeps me safe. 100% something that I'm very much aware of, that as I've seen what's been holding me back in my business, I am way too attached to hanging on from a place of trying to create safety externally through controlling. And this is a common block that holds so many entrepreneurs back from scale. I have to prove I'm worth it. This is a little vulnerable sharing all this with you guys. If I slow down, I'll lose momentum. My values and what I do, not who I am. So maybe you can identify with some of these. And if you are, you're not alone. These are common entrepreneurial challenges and blocks. But I think the level of self-awareness here is incredible. And what I might do is I might say, okay, so let's take number one. If you were coaching me to move through this belief and reframe it for something that would help me grow, how would you do it? Walk me through a conversation step by step where we can do that work together. And so now I'm in a coaching conversation with AI. And I can tell you, I've had many very profound insights and personal transformational shifts that have come as a result of literally just having back and forth coaching conversations with AI like this. And this has allowed me to unlock new insights, new perspectives, new ways of thinking that have dramatically propelled my business forward. And this is one of the reasons why I'm so excited about AI, because I think the potential for tools like this to be able to expand and elevate consciousness and to be able to help entrepreneurs expand and grow is beyond anything that we've ever seen in the history of the world. It's just incredible. So you might use a tool like this in this way. So we're going to go back to the adapting the messaging. We are so close to being done. It's gone through 27 sources. And one of the things I love here is if you actually look at the activity tab, you'll see that you can actually follow it as it's thinking. So what it's saying here, it's fascinating to see the emphasis on gathering the latent data. So AI is fascinated as it's collecting all of these insights. It's considering things. It's seeing a decline. It's analyzing data. This is stuff that you would have to hire like an expert level economic consultant to be able to do in the past that we can now literally do with a tool like this. So we're almost there. We're so close, but I want to come back to this in a minute or so we can actually look at the data. So hopefully you should, as you're going through this, maybe you have some insights, some perspectives. I mean, I think there's so much here as entrepreneurs. Sometimes it can feel like you're drinking from a fire hose a little bit. It's like a little overwhelming. But I think the key to be able to make this approachable is to just start with one use case or one entry point and deepen from there. To take maybe one thing that you learned in our training today and to start just with the one thing that you think will make the biggest impact. So I'm curious, what would be that one thing for you? For those of you who are here live, share in the chat, what's one use case that you saw today that you're like, that's going to make a huge difference in my business? I'm going to start using that right away. Share in the chat, and I would love to hear from you. Reba says, I'm going to use it for coaching feedback. Great. John, 3 buckets. Hannah says, teaching ChatGPT much about my business. Anya, recording phone calls, then call principal transcript and asking for feedback. Yeah, incredible feedback. Maria says marketing. John says deep research. I can't wait to share with you those insights. Collaborative content writing, then feedback. Prioritization, feedback on internal and external calls. Research, feedback and scaling. Definitely feedback. Yeah, good. So feedback is a big thing that's coming up. Both internal feedback, it sounds like, as well as just external feedback on your coaching calls, on your sales calls, on your marketing, on your content. I'm also using AI to give me feedback on content. So I'll write an email and then I'll put it into AI and I'll say, hey, what works in this email and how can I make it better? That's another way to create better content. You don't necessarily have to use AI to create the content. You can just use AI to give you feedback to improve the content. Muhammad says, use it with different mindset, like you showed. Great stuff. Your humbleness and transparency are often. Thanks, Poe. I appreciate that. It's a strange moment for me as an entrepreneur. I got to tell you, it's a strange moment. I think we're all in it together. But I really, I wanted to share this from a place of service because I'm so excited about this for me. And I'm like, it feels almost criminal to withhold this from other people. Shelby says, I can't wait to start using this for me. Awesome. All right, let's go ahead and circle back here. And then we're gonna open things up for questions. So here's this economic outlook for Q2, Q3, 2025. Okay, so we got high uncertainty, shifting policy. Okay, so we have a whole report here. This is very long. I'm gonna just ask it, can you summarize the key insights as well as how you think my messaging should change to better adapt to this changing market? Because I don't want to read 50 pages with you guys here. Let's see. What's a concise summary? And hopefully this won't be too depressing. Okay, so growth is slowing. Tariffs are driving uncertainty. We know that this is going on right now. The important thing is, what do we do about it as entrepreneurs? So updated messaging strategy for your brand. Your audience is no longer just thinking about growth. They're thinking about stability, security, and smart leverage. Your messaging needs to evolve from pure expansion to resilient scaling. So look at this. It's giving me a ton of messaging guidance. And if there's any practical insight I can share with you right now, it's that the messaging that worked in your business a year ago is not going to work today. And so as entrepreneurs, it's important for us to have our finger on the pulse of what's actually going on, the mindsets, the beliefs, the perspectives that our ideal clients hold, to be able to adapt, to create empathy, to be able to meet people where they are. So ChatGPT did literally what would have taken me probably days of research in about 20 minutes and created a very practical set of updated messaging guidelines focused on stability, on scaling smarter, on leading a business that thrives in any economy. And you might notice, if you're paying attention, that these are many of the things that I spoke about today in this workshop. So imagine the potential here. You're just taking one of these tools, integrated into your business. Just one of these use cases. I really think there is a shift happening in our world right now. And those of you who are here, who are watching this, are on the cutting edge. Just going through this workshop, you are ahead of 90% of entrepreneurs who are operating the same way they did 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years ago. So the question at this moment becomes, what will you do with it? And also, how will you lead as an entrepreneur as we step into this new world? And so we're going to talk more about, on a deeper level, how your business needs to evolve and shift to better meet where we're going, because my perspective is that business is going to change. It already is changing, and it's going to look radically different several years down the line than it does today. And so on a deeper level, part of this is leveraging these tools. And there's a whole nother perspective on this as well, which is incredibly important to be aware of, to be able to make sure your business continues to thrive heading into the next era of our world. So we're going to talk about that on Tuesday. And this was super practical today. I think day 2 of this workshop on Tuesday is going to be even more important, because we're going to talk about the broader shifts about how to make sure your business continues to be successful as we race towards this new world. So I hope you'll join us on Tuesday. We are going to do some Q&A here in a couple minutes. So if you do have questions, I'll hang out for a couple minutes. I know we're running over, but there's just so much to share with you here that I want to make sure we have time for all of it. Now, again, if you're like, okay, this was amazing, Jason, what do I do next in my business? How do I make sure my strategy is sound? How do I make sure that I'm set up to thrive in this new world, where the model that got me to where I am today might not be, and most likely isn't going to be, the model that got me to, or is going to get me to where I need to be in the future? Again, I'm opening up a limited number of these scaling blueprint sessions where essentially, I mean, this is free expert level guidance and mentorship. Generally something that my clients will pay me thousands of dollars for, where I will literally take a personal look at your business and I'll map out for you, here's the 3 key strategic shifts you need to make to your model, to your offers, to your positioning, to your marketing strategy, so you can continue to thrive and be successful in this new world. And it's completely free. There's no catch. There's no like surprise sales pitch. If I think I can help you on a deeper level, I may invite you to a conversation where we can explore that on a deeper level. If you're looking for that, you don't have to take advantage of that if you don't want to. But this is really my gift to you. And I have a limited number of these spots available because there's a lot of people who have signed up for this workshop. And I don't, as much as I'd love to spend the next 4 weeks of my life recording these for hundreds of people, I've got to run a business. And as much as AI is making my life easier, I've got clients to serve and things to do. So I have a limited number of these spots available. This is for established online business owners, coaches, consultants, service providers. You got to be making money in your business. So if you're brand new, this is not for you. It's really for established entrepreneurs who are growing and scaling. So if you want to take advantage of this, again, I have a limited number of spots available for it. You just go to jasonmoss.com/blueprint, fill out that quick survey. It literally takes 5 minutes. That will go directly to me. I'll review your business in detail. If I think I can help, I'll just record a customized video for you that walks you through what those shifts are. And again, it's completely free. You just go to jasonmoss.com/blueprint to get access to that. So that's available to you. And I hope you choose to take advantage of that. I think it's a pretty cool opportunity. And I'm going to go ahead and open things up here for Q&A. So if you do have questions, now is a great time to share them in the chat. A couple questions here about our call on Tuesday. It's going to be at the same time on Tuesday, so it will be there. And we will send out some reminder emails, as well as there is a calendar in the onboarding email that you got right when you signed up, that if you just click that link, that will go to a page where you can get details on the time. So it is Tuesday at 8 a.m. Pacific time, same time as today. All right, so lots of questions here. Let's take a look. I've been on a lot of AI workshops this week, and yours is hands down the best. Thank you for sharing with us. I'll be there Tuesday. I signed up for a call. Awesome. Thanks, Amanda. So glad this was something that you got value from. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm just trying to go through the questions. We've got a bunch of them here. So I'm going to try to get to as many as I can. Claire says, how do you choose which AI app to use? I feel like I've built a relationship with ChatGPT in the sense that it has a lot of knowledge on me and my goals. Can I transfer all of that info to another app or start from scratch? Yeah, so I think this is the interesting thing that we're seeing right now is once you really go deep with a certain app, and for me, it's been ChatGPT 2, there's this thing that starts to happen where it really does get to know you, and it becomes more difficult to use and leverage other AI models because there's not that level of intimacy. So I think the first thing is I've found, and I've used, I would say 90% of my AI use is with ChatGPT. I use Claude a little bit. I haven't experimented that much with Gemini or Grok. Those are the main four models out right now. But if I had to summarize the differences between them and what I think they're both good for, or they're all good for, ChatGPT is a great all-rounder. It's a great kind of all-purpose, multi-purpose tool. Claude, I think, is great for more creative writing. It often has more nuance when it comes to just writing in general, and some people find it more creative. It's got a more grounded, I almost feel like it's got a higher level of consciousness in terms of its writing style. ChatGPT is got a snappier, short, kind of direct style that I think can be great for certain things, but a lot of people really like Claude for writing. So you may experiment with Claude for content creation. Grok is interesting because Grok is all about truth seeking. So one thing you'll find with AI models is if you use them a lot, you'll see that sometimes they tend to be very agreeable. Like they'll just reflect back to you what you kind of want to hear. And sometimes that's nice when you want to be built up, but sometimes it's like I want something to be contrarian. I want something to challenge me and push back on me, and Grok is a great tool for that. So great when you're working through strategic decisions and you want more of a straw man kind of to be able to push against you, or someone who's going to fight back against and challenge you and expose blind spots. Gemini is a great all-rounder as well. And it's great because it's integrated into the Google ecosystem. So if you're using things like Google Docs or Gmail, it's just built in, which I think makes it very useful just from a practicality standpoint. So I think if you're using ChatGPT right now, I don't think you need to take out all of your data and move it somewhere else. I would say just work with the tool that you have. I think ChatGPT overall is a great tool for just all around use for AI, but I would also be experimenting with some of these other models if you've never used them before, because what you'll often find is that for certain use cases, you might get a different result in another model that might be more of what you're looking for. All right. Let's see. Federica, who's one of my VIP clients. Jason, you know me and I know how good you are. Do you think ChatGPT is really competent as a business coach? I do. I don't think that means we don't hire business coaches. And obviously, I'm biased in this conversation because I'm a business coach, but many of us are asking the question if we're coaches or consultants right now. In a world where AI can do so many of the things that we might have previously done for clients, what value do we have in the marketplace? And why might someone choose to hire us in a world where we can get so much valuable insight and perspective from AI? We'll be talking more about that on Tuesday. But in short, I think there's a level of lived human experience and embodied wisdom that AI does not have and will never have. And I think when we when we think about, like, when I think about, I still have mentors. I've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into hiring business coaches, and I will continue to do so. But what I go to for them is very different. I may not go to them for lower level strategy, but I might go to them for higher level mindset help and energetic alignment and connection and community and unique lived experience and embodied wisdom that AI will never have. So we're going to talk about this more on Tuesday, but I think there is a world where these two things coexist. And I don't think the answer is that AI is going to cannibalize the coaching industry or the consulting industry, and that all of us who are doing this work are no longer going to have jobs. I think our job is going to look very different, but I think there's still plenty of opportunity for folks who are doing deep, connective, human-centric work to be able to thrive, even in an era where AI is doing so much. And we're going to talk about that more on Tuesday. So that's a little bit of a preview of what's to come. Veronica says, the idea might be to amplify our knowledge and not otherwise. So not just use it as a facilitator. Yeah. So I think that's a great way of thinking about it, Veronica. Not as this binary either or. I think that's the way of thinking that I want to encourage everybody to step out of. It's AI is going to replace me. It's someone's either going to use AI or they're going to hire me. This is not the world we're moving towards. We're moving towards a both and, a world where these two things are going to become fused and integrated, where somebody hiring you is going to be working with AI too as a part of your delivery model. So we'll talk about that more on Tuesday. But this either or thinking is something that I want to encourage all of us to step out of. There will be a recording. Let's see here. I'm just scrolling through. What app do you use to record and transcribe your calls? I use Fathom. Sean says, you're so good, Jason. Are you even human? Newsflash, this is not actually real. This is just a fake AI doing this whole workshop. Okay, so last call for questions. If we have any more. I'm just taking a look at the chat. So if we have any last minute questions, now's your chance. And again, as we wrap things up, I want to encourage everyone, if you haven't taken advantage of that blueprint, if you are an established online business owner who's making money, you want to scale, and you want to figure out how to thrive in this new world, go submit that blueprint, and I will review your business personally and give you feedback on how to make sure that you're prepared and set up to thrive. So jasonmoss.com/blueprint. Kenneth says, and a couple more questions, and then we're going to sign off here. Kenneth said, is there an app to voice dictate prompts directly into ChatGPT? Yeah, so you can do that natively in ChatGPT. There's actually a voice feature, and it's somewhat useful. I'll be honest, I haven't found it as useful as just typing things in, but if you enjoy speaking and that's how you enjoy communicating, you can just do that natively in ChatGPT. Robert says, how should we protect data privacy as AI systems increasingly rely on personal data? It's a great question. It's a hot take right now. I think the easiest thing to do as entrepreneurs is to make sure that the AI models that you're using are not using your data to train. And so if you go into the settings in ChatGPT, you can turn that feature off because it's enabled by default, meaning what you do feed into ChatGPT is being used. Unless you're using the Teams edition, it is being used to actually train the model. So if you have proprietary data that you're sharing, business insights, things that you don't want to show up in the model, then you just turn that off. And essentially, your information is secure by doing that. So there are many other privacy implications around AI. We're not going to get super deep into that today, but I think that's a very simple action step that everyone here can take to make sure that their business data isn't compromised. Erica said, are there certifications you recommend? To be very honest, and I've signed up for programs and things like that, I think the best way to get really good is to just use these tools. Most of these certifications, I find in courses and things that you sign up for, they're 6 months behind. They're teaching things that were relevant 6 months ago, but the thing about AI is it's moving and changing so quickly that the best thing that I think we can do is, number one, use these tools every single day. Use them, integrate them into your workflow. And number two, I think there's a lot of great resources out there that you can tap into. Podcasts, the AI Daily Brief is one that I listen to, and I think that's a great 15-minute podcast that just summarizes, here's the latest news in AI on a daily basis. Just pay attention to what's going on. I think that's really important as well. Amanda says, when did you switch to AI coaching from regular business coaching? So I'm still a regular business coach. There's no switch here. This is just a workshop focused on AI. Although, I mean, I'm leveraging AI in the way that I serve clients, in the way that I run my business. So there's no dramatic shift. I'm not an AI coach. I want to be clear about that. But I am a business coach who works with entrepreneurs, who is seeing these changes happening and wanting to make sure that my clients and that you as my audience are aware of what's going on. When again on Tuesday? Yeah, same time. So 8 a.m. Pacific time. Amanda says, what is the name of the AI podcast? It's the AI Daily Brief. Yeah, cool. All right, everyone. So we're going to close things out there. Again, if you want to take advantage of that blueprint and get my personalized insights and feedback on your business, you can go to jasonmoss.com/blueprint. That's available to you. Hopefully, we will have that available over the next 24 hours. We'll see how many we get, but it is first come, first serve. So we'll see how many we get. It was great hanging out with y'all today, and just honored and privileged really to be able to walk this with you. So much is changing, and I think this moment really calls for folks like you who are forward thinking, who are on the edge, who are paying attention right now. So I celebrate you for being here. I'm excited to dive in on Tuesday and share some more with you. And I will see you then. So we'll send out a recording after our call today, and I'll link up to those resources as well so you have them. And I will hopefully see you all on Tuesday. So until then, have a great weekend and take care.